Welcome to the newest extension of the alleged network. I was going to say podcast, but this is kind of a different thing. It is still the alleged podcast, but it's also a separate podcast. This is the Allegedly Sports Podcast with me, Tyler, not Zach. Zach has been let go. It's an unfortunate situation. So this network is turning sports. Just kidding. He's still here. He found his way to the room. Didn't tell him I was going to be here. He found his way here, though.
Wait, is this legit going to be your intro?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, hi.
Hi.
I'm leaving now.
Yeah, okay. Good. Humna is also here. She'll probably be here for the podcast, though. She'll only contribute if she has like a question or some other stuff, or if I say something weird and she calls me out. Hi. So this is the newest extension of the Alleged Network. It's the Allegedly Sports Podcast with me, Tyler Castro. Basically, I'm starting this because, for one, there are no sports when it comes to the Alleged Network or the Alleged Podcast. We kind of gloss over that just because Zach isn't a huge sports guy. The guests we've had on aren't huge sports people. Humna's definitely not a sports person unless
Only
it's soccer. But that's what I'm into, and I don't get to talk about that very often. And since we are only doing the podcast for bi-weekly now, I thought it would be good, since broadcasting is something that I want to get into, if I utilize the open weeks that we aren't doing a podcast to do a sports one. And do you have to sneeze or cough? You can cough. It's okay. Okay. To utilize these open weeks to do a sports podcast, it'll get more podcasting in for me. It'll be kind of a cool experience, just because Humna thinks that Zach talks too much.
He does, and I think it's only fair that you get your own little moment.
Hey,
I don't know.
It's my fault that I have to leave the fucking episode sometimes. It's not my fucking fault.
It is, though, because you're
It's
talking.
not.
You're the one talking.
It's not.
Nobody asked you to talk.
It's not.
Nobody asked you to talk.
Yeah.
So this is kind of for me, and for me, you do it better, Zach.
For me.
Bill Burr does it the best. Maybe I'll put that soundbite in there, but I might get copyrighted for that.
Are
So,
you going to be censoring these episodes?
unless I don't see, among censoring, I don't see any reason to censor, but I also don't see any reason to swear unless I get like really pissed off about something. Like, there are times where I hear sports stories where it like burns, like I feel like the acid in my stomach is starting to bubble. Like, it just pisses me off that much where I want to go off. So that's where I might, swear. But other than that, like I don't see a reason to. But yeah, that's basically that's my view on censoring for this podcast. So sports is coming to the network. This is for me because sports is limited. We've had Phil on to talk UFC a few times, but and we talked baseball that one day, but that's really about it. So this is me implementing sports on the network for the audience, for myself, adding another podcast for the open weeks for myself because that's what I'm into. So what I'll be covering really is the mainstream sports stories, the little small ones that fascinate me, things that I like, things that I hate, things that piss me off. Zach. That's why he's not here. I kind of like the app, the Score, because that's what I look at a lot when it comes to my sports stories, because they give me the big ones, they give me editorials, they give me small things that isn't really news, but it's kind of cool. So that's probably where I'll do a lot of research. It's unlikely that we'll have any type of guests for a while, because That's not even on the alleged podcast. We have like
It's okay. That's why you have me. I
yeah,
got this.
exactly. You're my other voice.
No, I was saying I'm gonna get us guest.
Oh, okay.
I got this.
Okay. You gotta find good ones.
Sounds like me the other day. We got this.
But like even on the the regular alleged podcast, we have Phil. We don't have Steve anymore. He left. But it's kind of just been me and Zach and Humna lately. And even on the last podcast when Phil was there, we just kind of ran into him and asked him, "Hey, you want to come on?" And he said, "Yeah." So that's that. This will be. I'm gonna start this on a 30-minute basis. It's gonna run about 30 minutes. It might be a little over, but I don't want to even do like 28, 29. I want to stay 30 or more. But it might evolve depending on how I feel or anything like that. So that's kind of the intro to this podcast, and I'm excited. Yeah, like 30, 40 minutes. Yeah. So I'm excited for this. Like, I was really excited to do this. I don't know if I prepared as much as I should have, but, you know.
That's our common theme. Like, let's be honest with you.
Actually, no, that's your common name.
Okay. All right, I'll see you.
All right, bye, Zachary.
Ew, you called him Zachary.
Yeah. Just like when I see my mom, I'm like, "Hi, mother." Zach said he left, but he's just outside the door. He didn't leave. He's now putting his hand on the door. He left a print, and he's still not left. He's just gonna sit at the table. I'm just took a Snapchat. She'll post that for us.
We're supposed to be talking sports, babe.
I know, but there's stuff going on around me. That guy's got a skateboard. Actually, it's a longboard.
Would you consider skateboarding a sport?
Yeah, it's like one of those. What are those sports? X sport. But it's probably not going to get talked about on here.
Well, it doesn't have to. It was a conversation that I was trying to get you to start, so that way you're talking.
What are X sports? Like, I don't even. What are some kind of X sports?
Like the BMX.
Okay, so the
BMX.
biking, rollerblading,
Skateboarding.
I grew up with a lot of people that skateboarded actually, and I was just like, why? Like, why do you like that?
I skateboarded for a while.
I never skateboarded. I never rollerbladed. Biking, I feel like most people know how to ride a bike. I always grew up thinking that I wasn't going to know how to ride a bike. Like, I didn't learn how to ride a bike till I was like 10 maybe.
What?
Yeah, I was.
By 5, I knew how to ride a bike without training wheels.
No, I didn't know how to ride a bike for a while. Because it was just me and my mom. I didn't have like, I didn't know if who was going to teach me. And I remember just watching a dad go down the street with his 2 little kids on their bikes, and they both knew how to ride, and he obviously knew how to ride. And I just remember thinking, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do that. I don't know if I'm ever going to know how to ride a bike. But then our neighbors, probably the coolest neighbors I've ever had, he taught me how to ride a bike in like a day. I think it took me a day to figure it out. And then I'm thinking, like, later on, I'm like, how am I going to have the patience to teach anybody how to ride a bike? Like, I don't know how to teach a person how to ride a bike. That's something you just kind of got to do. Like, riding a bike, that's just your own balance. You have to it's all about trust, really. You have to trust yourself. I didn't fall. And, like, anything I do that has to do with balance, like, I don't like falling. Even though they say if you fall, it'll make you more comfortable to kind of challenge yourself more.
I never heard that.
Really? Like, if you get over the falling part, like, you fall and you, like, when you're ice skating. If you fall when you're ice skating.
I never fell when I started ice skating.
Most people try not to, which is understandable. But, like, my coach in hockey told me, if you just go out there and don't care about falling, if you fall and you realize the impact, like when you hit the ice and you realize how it feels and it's not that bad, you won't be as scared to fall again. Because you're thinking, I'm going to fall and I'm going to hit my head, I'm going to break my neck, I'm going to break my arm, I'm going to break my ankles. But if you just fall and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad, then you'll be like, okay, I can fall again and it won't be so bad. And then you'll probably learn faster because you'll extend yourself more to do more faster and you challenge yourself more. I still didn't do that. I was like, whatever. I'm not going to fall. It took me our practices were like an hour long, and it took me like 2 practices to figure out how to skate without using the wall. So 2 hours, learn how to skate on my own.
Technically, I didn't ever learn to ice skate. I just knew how to rollerblade. And so rollerblading just translated to ice skating for me really easily.
I didn't rollerblade as a kid either. Did you ever have Heelys? No.
I wanted them, but Mom was like, those are stupid. You're not getting them. I was like, fine.
I had them, and I never learned how to do it. I thought it was weird. Like, I tried, but I just thought it was weird how you had to pick both of your feet up and be on your heels. Like, that just wasn't comfortable to me at all. And then I saw kids doing it in school, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But then I think in my town, I don't think they allowed those anymore.
Yeah, after a while, they were like, nope, you guys can't have. Like, they would send, I know at my school, they sent a note home to the parents, like, look, don't send your child to school with these shoes, because apparently, all the kids were falling and busting their shit, trying to do stupid tricks on the playground.
Busting their bleep. So I hate this.
Are you looking up the exports?
No, I kind of forgot about that. I was looking. I got the shitty arm because it keeps falling on me. No, I was looking for some articles that I had pulled up or saved, and now I can't find them. I knew that was going to happen. Let's see. Exports. It reminds me of Export Fitness because that's where I used to work out. Exports. That's what I got. Exports. Olympics. Let's look up in the Olympics. I feel like we're calling it the wrong.
I don't know what the hell it's called. All I think of is like Tony Hawk.
Yeah, skateboarding. X Games.
It's something with an X.
Yeah, it's the X Games. I don't know why we were saying exports. It's X.
You did it.
No, you're right. X Games. Sports.
Okay, so what sports are included?
Slopestyle, freestyle, motocross, snowcross, rallycross.
I hear a lot of cross and it's not
ski
running.
Cross, enduro cross. So basically dirt bike, snowboarding, skiing.
Skiing?
Some type of racing, snowmobiling.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds cool.
So basically a bunch of like
extreme sports.
Extreme sports. There you go. They're really extreme.
Maybe that's why it's called X Sports, because they're extreme.
Have you probably just gonna go out on a limb. Probably. Have you ever been to like a monster truck thing?
No, I wanted to.
Really?
But never went.
Do you consider that a sport? Do you consider NASCAR a sport? Would be my next question.
I consider
I do.
NASCAR a sport.
Yeah.
I don't consider monster trucking a sport though.
See, I don't watch NASCAR. I actually don't mind watching it. Watching it is okay. I don't really get it or get the whole mechanics or strategy. But I don't mind watching it. It's like if it's in the background like on a Sunday, I'm okay with that. That's fine with me. So we're going to move on from X Games because I've lost interest. I've listed the X game sports.
Extreme sports.
If something in the Olympics like skiing comes up, that is something I will probably cover because skiing is actually pretty cool. I like skiing. Racing.
Ooh, would you consider jet skiing a sport?
They have. I don't know. Water sports, aqua sports,
Aqua sport.
aqua sports.
Are we like aquamen and women? We're mermen and mermaids?
You know what? You know what sport that I? What's that sport in the pool that you play in the pool?
Water
that's like
polo?
water polo. I always thought that was kind of cool.
See, how did I know that was exactly where you were going for?
Always thought that was kind of cool.
I know my freshman year, the ROTC boot camp I went to, one day we played water polo, and my team won, and it was really fun. It was my first time ever playing, and it was fun. I was like, I could do this if it's not so deep and I know I'm not going to drown.
You're gonna drown, but I shall let you drown. No, I lost interest in the water sports too.
Clearly.
Sorry. Jet skiing. I guess if snowmobiling is, then jet skiing could be. If it's like a racing type thing. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like ice skating and rollerblading. One's on ice, one's on solid ground. Yeah.
Do I have to erase that?
No.
I kind of just want to leave it here for the next person that comes
Why
in.
don't you also put the YouTube and SoundCloud? Follow us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. That's how people are going to listen to this.
Well, you know, if they found the social media accounts, then it's kind of linked to the other accounts.
It doesn't hurt to add as much information as you can.
Fine.
Meep. So that is okay. Write it. Write YouTube. Write YouTube in black marker or red marker.
No.
Okay. Fine.
So what's happening with baseball? Explain this to me.
Baseball. The story that I got here. The biggest story in baseball.
Stop
Babe,
lying.
do you know what it is?
No, because I don't do baseball.
Guess.
Somebody bought a team.
Yes, but no.
How is it yes but no?
Somebody did buy a team, but that's not the biggest story.
Oh.
The biggest story in
wait, no, I was gonna guess again.
Okay.
The Sox keep losing.
Yes.
That was
true, but no, that is
Oh.
not the biggest story.
Okay, one more try. Some entrepreneur bought something baseball related. Like a field. I don't know.
No and no.
Okay, tell me.
And side note, I am from Chicago. I will
Chi-town.
talk about Chicago sports a lot.
He likes the White Sox.
I love the White Sox. I don't hate the Cubs. I watch the Cubs. I don't root against the Cubs. I'm a Sox fan. I go to Sox games. I've never been to Wrigley. I think I went to a Bears game once. I don't remember though. Like it was when I was really young, and I don't remember if it was a Sox game or a Bears game. I've been to Blackhawks games a bunch, so I'll probably talk about them a lot, all of them. So the biggest story in sports, without a doubt, is the Cleveland Indians winning streak. They've won 22 straight. They won last night against the Royals in extra innings, 10 innings, 3-2. That's 22 straight, and they've
Okay. Slow down and explain this to me. All I heard was winning streak, and that was it.
Okay, so the Cleveland Indians have a winning streak right now.
Okay, so that's the team that people are trying to get them to get rid of their little Indian sign, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, the Wahoo.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Oh, that's all you want. Okay, so they've won 22 straight.
Okay.
22 straight games.
Out of how many games? Like 22 out of 22?
Yeah, 20.
Oh.
They've won
Okay,
22 in a
don't-
row.
I don't know if there's like a special term for this. I don't do baseball.
No, it's just a winning streak. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. Where was I gonna go with that?
They're
Oh.
22.
Oh, so and the stat, like I was looking up stats this morning, and like I knew they were gonna be good, but I didn't know they were gonna be like quite as cool. Like let's see, I have from see I went to USA Today and Sports Illustrated, and I kind of got two different statistical lists here, and so the first one that I went to is run differential. Like that's kind of when you're on a streak like this, or you're like really good, a really good team who's like, you know, you have a great winning percentage, or you're just on a hot streak. You look at the run differential in baseball, and the run differential for the Cleveland Indians is they're 105 ahead of their. It's like how many runs have they scored versus how many runs have they allowed, and the difference is 105 runs. They've scored 105 more runs
than what
they've allowed, and they've in this 22 game streak they've scored 142 and only allowed 37.
So I'm assuming those are good numbers?
Those are great numbers.
Okay.
Amazing numbers. And of course, let's see, there was another one that I wanted to say. It was I think it was like the Indians have scored they've hit 41 home runs while only allowing those 37 runs. Like that's the fact that you've hit 41 home runs versus how many you've actually scored over this whole entire streak. That goes out to the pitching staff, who's kept less than a 2.0 ERA along the whole thing. Trevor Bauer and Corey Kluber each have 4 wins, while the whole starting pitching staff has 19 out of the entire 22 wins. And I mean and without Andrew Miller, their star reliever, who's just coming back now in the whole middle of this thing, I mean.
So is he like the best on the team then?
Oh yeah, he's probably I think he's one of their best relievers. Yeah, he's not the closer, but he's definitely their.
What's a reliever?
A reliever, like you have a starting pitcher who goes in to do anywhere between 5 to 9 innings. You can go the whole game, like I said. But they're usually only expected to go like 5, 6, 7. And then the reliever is the guy who comes in during the 7th, 8th, or 9th to relieve the guy who started the game. Easy, right?
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's fine. People don't know that. But once you explain it, it gets easier. That's the whole point. They've had 7 shutouts during the whole thing, and there was a story that I had read whether they're still chasing history because the current winning streak record is, well, now it's the Cleveland Indians at 22, but they had been tied with the 1935 Chicago Cubs at 21, but the 1916 San Francisco Giants had a streak of 26, quote unquote, but during their 26, they had a tie within that, so people were wondering, well, they didn't.
So are the Giants still the ones that hold the
In
highest?
my opinion, they are not, because a winning streak means in a row.
Right.
They did not win 26 in a row. They just didn't lose in 26 games.
Then that's not.
That's a whole separate record.
Yeah.
Like,
that doesn't make sense. No, it makes sense what you're saying, but it doesn't make
Right.
sense that they call it a winning streak if it's not consecutive.
right. So then at that tie, after that tie, it would be, instead of winning streak, it would be games without a loss streak. And that's so, in my opinion, the Indians have the record for longest winning streak in MLB history, but they do not have the longest streak of games without a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are still chasing that. I don't know if they play today. Do they play today? MLB.com?
Didn't the Indians play the White Sox and the Sox lost?
That was a little while ago, but yeah, I mean, they're division rivals, so they play each other quite a few times throughout the year. Like division teams in the same division play each other the most. That's why, like,
So what division are they in?
the AL Central,
What's AL Central?
American League Central. There's the
I thought it
American
was
League.
all Major League
It
Baseball.
is, but it's like conferences, you know? There's the American League, and
Yeah.
then there's the National League, and in hockey, there's the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference, same with basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
And in
guess I get it.
football, it's the American Football Conference and the National Football Conference.
Which one's bigger?
They're the same size. They're all the same size.
Oh.
They try to keep them the same size. Like in hockey, they just added one more team, so now it's 31 teams. That's an odd number, so one.
So does that mean one team's gonna like play multiple teams to get to the top?
Oh, it's a dog.
Stop getting distracted. I asked you a question.
What?
I should throw something at you.
You should. What?
I lost my question. Oh wait, no. Since it's 31 teams, does that mean that one team has to play multiple teams to make it to the top? Like, you know how like on Big Brother, where it was that challenge, and you know the two of them went off, and then if one of them lost, then the other one that won carried on, and he had to go against someone else.
Oh, so no, it's just like you are handed a 82 game schedule, and there will probably be somebody's schedule where they play, and it'll probably be a same conference team because, like, in the NHL, it's more like, well, it's the scheduling policy basically that everybody plays each other at least once, but Eastern Conference teams and Western Conference teams only play each other twice. So a team from the Western Conference will only play a team from the Eastern Conference twice in 1 year. They will play them at their home stadium, and they will play them at the away stadium, the other team's home stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So you will play a team in the same conference multiple times, but for this year, they will probably have this new team, the Vegas Golden Knights, play another team within their conference one more time.
So why don't they just come up with another team so it's 32?
Well, I mean, they probably will eventually. It looks like Seattle might get a team eventually, or, I mean, that's most likely. Seattle is looking for
Does Seattle have any sports?
They have baseball.
Oh.
The Mariners. They used to have basketball, but they moved. The Seattle Sonics moved in like 2007 to Oklahoma City.
So they're not called the Seattle
Sonics. No, they're called the Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's funny.
Yeah, so
wait, if a team moves to another state,
yeah,
they change name?
you don't have to because
Because that's a lot of name changing if they're moving around a lot.
well, you should look up the history of some teams. Some teams have a long history of different things, and some teams like relocate. Like the New Jersey Devils used to be the Kansas City somethings, and then the Kansas City somethings used to be something else.
So basically what I said, whenever they
And
move, they change their name.
There's a team now called the Winnipeg Jets, but that team was non-existent, but it was existent before, like in the 80s and 90s and all that. Before, there used to be a team called the Winnipeg Jets. Then they moved to Arizona, and now technically the former Winnipeg Jets are still like a part of the franchise history of the Arizona Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
But this new team, the Winnipeg Jets, is part of the franchise history of the Atlanta Thrashers because they moved from Atlanta. So even though they're the same city, same team name, they're two different organizations from two different backgrounds, have two different histories, but they're still called the same, name and everything else.
That's a headache.
It is.
Now, do they change the name because, do they get a new manager every time they move, or is it...
Well, usually when you are relocated, it could be the same owner. You're just not making enough money where you're located at this point, so you need to go somewhere else where you might make more revenue. Like Atlanta was not getting any money for their team. No, it just wasn't a good hockey city. So they moved to Winnipeg, Canada, where hockey's basically religion up there, and now they're making more money.
How come do we play Canada
In
hockey? Like,
yeah,
do we go against?
there are 7 Canadian teams.
Well, I don't care how many teams there are. I was saying, does American teams go against Canadian?
Mm-hmm. There's 1 Canadian baseball team.
Really?
There's 1 Canadian basketball team.
Really?
There's no Canadian football teams, though.
Not even soccer? Not even European football?
I'm not. I think in like the MLS, there's like 1 Canadian.
Canada, if you're listening, you just hurt my feelings.
Yeah. And they're called like Toronto FC or something. I never liked how they did naming soccer, like Toronto FC. That just stands for football club. And I'm like, what? That's so stupid.
That's original. It's very simple and obvious. So if you were ever like, hey, what's that soccer team Toronto has? Oh, you mean Toronto FC? Yeah.
And you're just
that's
like,
the one.
but then you feel kind of stupid where it's like, really? I was missing 2 letters. I couldn't think of 2 letters. Like.
I mean, come on, Zach couldn't solve simple
Like
math.
at least in LA they had the LA Galaxy
Okay, so all they added was Galaxy.
or the New York Red Bulls.
All they added was Red Bull.
Yeah, and Toronto just has FC that stands for football club. Like, that's boring.
That's simple and
That's
smart.
boring. You can't advertise football club. You can advertise Red Bulls or you can advertise Galaxy
You can advertise Foot Club.
Football Club.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's just harder because they're just 2 broad, vague words. Like,
No.
yeah.
No. Canada is technically like a European country. So when they say football, you know they mean soccer.
Well,
Only in America, football means football, not soccer.
Mike, the guy that I work with, we were talking about soccer, and he says football because he's more of a soccer guy. And I got confused because I thought we were talking about, like, American football. And he had to correct himself. He's like, I mean soccer. I'm like, oh, we're talking about
Right,
soccer.
because to me, it doesn't make sense that here, America, we call it football. But if you think about it, don't you only use your foot if you're getting, like, a free kick or whatever?
Well, the thing about it is you start a football game by kicking the ball.
Right, but that's the only time. After that, the ball is in your hand and you're tackling bodies. In
But-
soccer, aka football in Europe and the rest of the world, you're actually using your feet. If the ball touches your hand, you get deducted points and it goes to the other team.
But every play series, like, not every play in a football game uses a foot, but every series, so every start of a series uses somebody's foot, and also the extra point on a touchdown can be critical, and you have to kick that.
Okay, so then how often do you use your feet with the ball in American football?
Well, it depends how many points are scored. If it's a high-scoring game, it's probably going to be a lot. If it's a low-scoring game, it won't be as much.
Can it be an average scoring game?
It'll be average. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it's just like,
Even as a kid, when I grew up, I didn't understand why they call it football. I thought it would make more sense as like handball or tackle ball or something like that, because that's what I saw more of.
I see what you're saying, because baseball, you got the bases.
Right, that makes sense to me. Basketball, I see.
The basket.
Hockey, I think that's just a weird word.
Well,
in
like,
general.
you couldn't use tackle ball, because, like, even though that's the point, like, you tackle to stop, that's only one side of the game.
I'm just saying,
I know.
why name it something
But you can't,
where
and you can't use handball either, because handball is something else.
there's an actual sport called handball.
I'm pretty sure there's a game called handball.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe you. Show me this.
Handball.
What's that other sport I was telling you that I wanted to see?
Yeah, look it up when you get a chance on your phone or something.
Why don't you just tell me what it says? It's right there in front of you.
Handball. Also known as team handball or Olympic handball is a team sport in which 2 teams of 7 players each, 6 outfield players and a goalkeeper, pass a ball using their hands with the aim of throwing it into the goal of the other team. A standard match consists of 2 periods of 30 minutes, and each team scores more.
Is it like the one where they got the stick and then it's like they're tossing it?
No, that's lacrosse.
Oh, that was the sport I was thinking of.
Oh, really?
How come no one plays, how come lacrosse isn't a thing here?
Lacrosse is a thing. There's a National Lacrosse League. Lacrosse is really big in college.
Really?
It's a really big college sport.
Does Marine have?
No.
That's what I thought.
No, we do not have lacrosse.
We do not have college.
We do not have college. Oh, my God. We're almost at 40 minutes. Babe, I've talked about one story in my notes.
Well, technically, yes, but we also broke down a whole bunch of other stuff, and you were explaining things to me.
Babe.
And you'll probably go back and cut. So, it's all good.
Yeah, I got to cut out the first 2 minutes.
Okay, then. So, you're at 38 minutes.
36. Because I'm already at 38.
Okay.
I said
36.
almost 40 minutes.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. So you played lacrosse, and
Yes,
I've
I
always
did.
wanted to try it because it seemed like a sport I would like.
I have a lacrosse stick downstairs, and I have a bunch of lacrosse balls. I only have one lacrosse stick, though, because I gave my other one to my cousin because he was really interested in it. I credit myself with getting my cousin to play hockey because I started playing hockey, and then he came back. He didn't play ice hockey, but he played ball hockey because there's a ball hockey and LSIP, you know?
Okay, stop. What's the difference between ball hockey and ice hockey?
Ice hockey is on ice with a puck. Ball hockey is on, flooring mats with a ball.
So
And you-
technically, when you're a kid and you see all those other kids play with a little hockey stick in the house, that's ball hockey.
Yeah,
playing.
you know the hockey you played in gym?
No, I didn't play hockey in gym.
Okay, have you ever seen gym setup hockey at school?
No, because we never did hockey. God. Hockey was soccer,
I mean,
basketball, baseball.
I mean, I know it was just
football.
kind of one of those things, if you had time, you would do it, which always annoyed me because I love hockey. But,
Hey,
it
my
was
math
still
teacher
there.
loves hockey too. He doesn't like baseball though.
I don't have a lot of respect for that guy.
He doesn't like football or soccer or basketball or any other sport unless it's hockey.
I have to give him a talk. You still have to get your gov teacher on the other podcast. I'm still interested in.
You still want Mr. Nisovic?
I'm still interested in calling out his liberal ass.
Why?
Because he was totally being unfair to you and
What do you
making you
mean?
watch MSNBC every morning.
No, it
If
wasn't.
he was a
It
real-
wasn't every morning. Sometimes he had C-SPAN on. It wasn't every
Yeah, but
morning.
C-SPAN is bleh. Nobody watches
But the
C-SPAN.
point was he was exposing us to this because he knew damn well none of us was sitting here watching C-SPAN or MSNBC on our own.
Right, but if he was a real gov teacher, he would have had not just those two. He would have had CNN, Fox,
Well, he showed us
NBC,
CNN
ABC,
once or twice.
CBS.
Look, I'm not Mr. Nisovic. I don't run the class. All I did was sit there and pass the class.
No, you know what he used that time for? That was his personal preference, and he's like, I'm a gov teacher. Here's my excuse to watch TV and my favorite show on MSNBC, the most liberal show in the world.
And what's wrong with being a liberal?
Nothing's wrong with being a liberal, but it's wrong if that's what you watch 95% of the time in front of your students.
You want to know the truth? That was playing for the first 5 minutes of class. You want to know how many people paid attention to that? A handful. And I only paid attention because I was like, oh.
And how many?
news.
He probably had 6 classes a day. So if you take a handful, how many?
I think he had 4.
Okay, you take
He didn't have a
That's
full
20.
schedule.
That's 20 students. That's 40 students.
Did you really have to take handful
was it a whole-
literal?
Well, if we're doing math, yes.
Fine.
Was it a semester class?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Gov is a semester
that's
class.
40 students a year. Every political election, that's 160 people out there that are brainwashed liberals.
So you're
Because
saying
of
I'm
this guy.
brainwashed liberal because of my gov
I
teacher
didn't
now.
say you were.
No,
I
but
didn't
you
say.
but you already know I was in this class. So you technically just lumped me with these 140 however many kids.
I didn't. I said I didn't name any names in the handful. You didn't
You
have
didn't
to be a
need
part
to
of.
name any names. I already put myself in the pool, and you just completely lumped me with the rest of them.
No, because you didn't have to be a part of the handful. There were more than enough kids to be a
Okay.
part of the handful.
Okay.
I know you're not a brainwashed liberal. You don't like when I watch politics, really.
Well, no, I don't like watching politics because it's nothing but bullshit, and it's like you can't even really change it, even if you think you can. So it's like me talking out of my ass to a wall. That's what politics is to me.
Well, yeah, which is why a lot of, like, I read an article.
Like, I can sit there and watch it with you, but it's just going to make me irritated because it's not a lot we can do to
I read
change
an
it.
article once about somebody who created something for, like, healthcare, a system or something, like an app. And he was interviewed, and he's like, if you like, if you major in political science and you love this so much, why aren't you a politician? He's like, I could work my whole life to try to get one thing that I believe in done and then have it ripped from me 2 years later.
Right.
When my term is over.
Right.
Or I can create an app that can stick around for much, much longer and help way more people that choose to do it instead of having to go through government, try to get it passed, finally getting it passed, and then getting it rescinded 2 years later.
Yesterday, like last night when we were in bed, I saw some video on Twitter. In India, there's this doctor that created a male contraceptive, and it's 100% effective and reversible.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because he was saying, in India, it's mainly, the men take care of the women, so the man gets whatever he wants. And he was saying, it's time that we make it fair so that if we want our women to stop having kids, we can get something not as extreme as a vasectomy, because that way we can't reverse it. But taking this, there's another shot, because like how it happens, you get shot in your little balls.
Yeah.
And then, and then whatever it goes through you, all that bullshit. And if you want it reversed, you take another shot in your balls again, and bam, you can have babies. So it's almost, if you think about it, it's like a woman getting her tubes tied. Because if a woman gets her tube tied the correct way, she can get them untied and have children again.
Right.
But if she gets them like burned, she can't have kids ever.
Ugh, burned.
It's not burning like you think. And then like if a guy gets a vasectomy, no more babies for you guys. How did we go from sports to politics?
Because we started
to
talking
sex?
about government, and I feel like the next thing that we're going to talk about is abortion. And I don't want to go there.
What's wrong with abortion?
Nothing's wrong with abortion. It's just this is a sports podcast, and if we go all the way to abortion, we might as well.
I mean, we could be like David and Jason right now.
Hello.
You guys should hit us up.
Tell us how to.
Tell us your secret. I understand you can't leave the country for a while, David, so,
But
should
we're in the
come on
country.
over.
Yeah.
We're in Chicago. You
We're
can travel
in
to Chicago.
Your hometown of Chicago. He's from Chicago.
Well, you're not from Chicago. I'm from Chicago, so I'm in my hometown, which is also his hometown. And you should probably cut all this out, but...
Do I want to be from Chicago?
What's wrong with being from Chicago?
Nothing. No, nothing at my age, but if you're born in Chicago now, you might not be as proud.
No. I think it just depends on what side. Like, if you're born from the north side of Chicago, I think even now you're fine.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Then. So it's just the area. But that's with any state. I'm pretty sure Washington has, like, some
I'm sure they
gang city,
sure
whatever.
they do, but it's not as deadly as here, though.
It's not even as deadly as you guys make it seem. Everybody just
Well, I mean,
exaggerates it. Yes, I understand
feel
there's
like-
a lot of gangs out there with a lot more
But
guns. But
not just that, but I feel like we live just far enough to where we don't have to, like, deal with what is actually happening. Like,
if we go to Brenda's house, it's right there.
yeah, I know.
How far is Brenda? She's half an hour away from us.
Exactly, but I'm saying we live just far enough.
So you're saying you'd rather be oblivious to it?
Oblivious to what?
All the violence.
No, because I'm not oblivious.
I didn't say you were. I said, would you rather?
No, not at all. Because then if I become oblivious, that's when I'm in danger.
I'm hungry.
I know, me too.
We also have to do grocery shopping.
Yeah. All right, we're at 47 minutes. This was a good intro.
He had to like lecture you guys for like the first 5 minutes to tell you his life story.
Well, I gotta let him know. I mean,
yeah, but it was kind of long and lengthy and like blech.
I didn't realize that it would be. I had a half hour to fill at least.
Is there gonna be a separate outro since it's just the two of us? Because if it is, then I want to do it.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay, we'll be back in 2 weeks.
I thought we were doing this every week.
Should we do it every week?
That's what I thought you were doing. So that way, you know, technically every week it's 2 videos, and then every 2 weeks it's 3 videos. It's 2 podcasts, and then the video that you guys do.
I mean, we could do this every week, I guess.
Or you can go with my other idea and do it multiple times a week, because if you keep that 30-minute benchmark, you can do it on like a Monday and then like a Thursday. And you know it's a good idea, especially if it's a lot going on with, let's say, you could do it like this, where one week you talk about baseball and all the things that are happening in baseball, and then the next week you talk about football and whatever league shit, however that works. And then you can, I don't know, something to keep it flowing.
We'll see.
Bye.
Bye.